It's almost an agreement time. All right, today I got Sherry Witt. Sherry Witt is the current county clerk. She is running currently unopposed for holding that seat for the second term. I don't know. We're trying to talk Max into running against her. See if we can get that stirred up. Anyway, we're almost in agreement at gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. You can go to our website, almostinagreement.com. I've got my jobs description sheet. It's not perfect. It's not even complete, but it's something as far as trying to get some better understanding of what the job is that we're asking these people to do, let alone the people who are asking us to pick them for the job. And I also have the voter guide 22. It's up there on the top bar. You just click through there. It's got a list of everybody that's running. If I've done a show with them, it's got a link to the show with them. If they have a website or something like that, it'll have a link to their website so you can learn more about all the candidates. It also has links for KGIS and the Knox County Election Commission, tell you which district you're actually in, who you're allowed to vote for, if you're registered, those kind of things that are important. So, get out there, get to know the vote, get on your favorite podcast provider, give us a like, a subscribe, a follow, all those great things. Get the word, tell your friends, do whatever you can. We're going to keep working on this and get as many of these candidates in here as we can. So, go. All right, everybody, I got Sherry Witt with me. She is the current county clerk, and as of last I checked, the only one wanting the seat. We'll get into some of that here in a little bit. So, Sherry, first of all, thanks for taking the time. I'm sorry about the confusion on scheduling. That's my fault. So, anytime I have a new candidate on the show, I always like to do the quick, brief history of what kind of like where you're from, that kind of thing, and then what got you into politics and the seat that you're currently running for.
Okay. Well, I actually came to work right out. I graduated from UT, and my thoughts were what I graduated in was being a social worker. Some way I started working in the Register of Deeds office, and I think I worked every job there in the Register of Deeds office, became the chief deputy, and eventually became the Register of Deeds. We have term limits here in Knox County, so after 2 terms, I found myself shy of retirement age, but had served in that capacity for quite some, in the registrar's office. And I thought, well, I'm going to try this clerks. I want to go over there. And I go to a national association that a lot of the registers and clerks do the same duties. So I thought I would be very familiar with that. So I ran for it, just threw out there. I was the first Register of Deeds, and then in 2018 became the first county clerk as far as a female. So that's kind of a little bit of the history.
Okay, so because again, like a lot of the process is what I'm really into in this conversation. And so just for clarification, what is the term for Register of Deeds and what are the term limits?
I'm sorry. Register of Deeds is the property. All of your property records are recorded in the Register of Deeds office. What is the length of term? A length of term is a 4-year. And so you're allowed to serve 2 terms. Knox County, we have 95 counties, and I think we are there may be 3 counties in the states that are term limited. And we are also a charter.
Okay, so shifting that into the county clerk's office, it's still a 4-year term.
Exactly, a 4-year, and then so you're allowed to run, of course, for 8 years.
So it's the same 2-term limit thing. Gotcha, because we were having a conversation about how long you'd been in this office. So you're completing your first of 2 potential terms. Okay.
Yes.
Because again, like I said, it's like there's a lot of process that I think I think a lot of people are unfamiliar with, and that's one of the things I'm trying to chase down in this. I think you're, at least as of right, unless I haven't checked today, you're running unopposed right now, which to me says that the general populace is pretty cool with the job you've been doing. And so if you're okay with it, I'd like to talk more about the job than about the campaign.
Sure, sounds good, Seth. I mean, that's what we're hoping to. There's a lot of work in the clerk's office. There's a lot of things the clerk does. So just let me know when you're ready. And I don't have any notes here, but I'll try to as far as figures, numbers, and all that. I may have to get back with you, but
okay. Because I've been building like kind of a what I call the jobs description form for Knox County elected office, and I found a decent. Source that's out of the UTE library that kind of breaks it down as far as the state law governing what the different bodies do. And so one of the things that I'm trying to figure out specifically is where your office deviates from the state kind of broad strokes of the rules. Because let me pull it real quick here.
Talking about like the clerk's office, where you hear us say, like, oh, let's take the license plates for an example. The state designed those plates. The Department of Revenue, they do all of that. The governor, we are the front line for the state. And a lot of times we are, and the majority of our money goes to the state. We're, somewhat of a collection department for the state, and we are on the front lines with driver's license, with license plates, with a lot of things. Sales tax.
Right, like marriage licenses go through your office. A lot of that stuff like that.
That's
so,
right.
But again, for me, what I personally am trying to figure out specifically is my assumption of what your job is as the elected official versus the job of the office, where the job of the office is to go out and collect these fees, distribute license plates, driver's licenses, all those different things for the different organizations that you assist on the state level and stuff like that. But for you on a day-to-day, what are you doing on a regular day? Because I'm assuming you're not down there in the courthouse handing out license plates. I'm not saying it's impossible.
Because I often am. But anyway, here's the rest of it. You need to understand what the office does. You need to understand how to. We have 6 offices in the clerk's office. Making sure that every one of those are staffed. Making sure that handling customer complaints. But most often, just making sure you have the right people in the right position. No, I shouldn't have to be distributing license, but not that I can. You should know how to,
but the actual right. And so again, because I don't mean this to be a disparaging phrasing of it, but to me, my assumption on it was that you're a personnel manager. The majority of your
And I was teasing when I said don't assume. Okay, I was
saying,
being funny. But anyway,
the idea being that for most of it, it's you're hiring and firing people, you're transferring people to different departments where their talents can be more useful, that kind of thing, more than it's about specifically doing what the clerk's office does for your day-to-day. Your day-to-day is personnel, it's equipment, it's policy about how we go about hours and stuff like that, I assume.
Yeah, that's a lot. That is a lot of it, but it's. I can say this because 4 years ago I looked at the clerk's office, not the same as you have because you haven't been, downtown in government. But I was looking at it from a distance. It's a whole lot different when you get in here in this seat and you've got right. The main control. So. It's a little
right. And again, that is what I'm super interested in. Is what is that a lot? Like, what are the things that you are doing on a regular basis that people aren't associating with you in your office?
Right. And what I was telling you about the personnel, staffing, things like that, there's also legislation that changes quite often concerning the clerk's office. We have to be abreast of all of those changes and make sure that our service leaders and employees are made aware of that. There's just, like I said, there's a lot of answering to the public. And that you could use your whole day almost doing that, because I try to be on these calls and trying to take our message out to the public and be there when they need us. And also, and we kept these offices open the entire time during the pandemic. And then it's just also running these offices in a way that you have a budget that you have to address. There's different things every month that not just the clerk, but elected officials are responsible.
Right. Okay, I understand that for sure. And again, I almost I guess it makes sense now because you're going to have your second term and somebody else is going to have to fill in the seat. And one of the things I am working on is that kind of blueprint for the type of person who wants to fill the role. And that's what like I said, that's what I'm curious about in all this, is because I think a lot of us out here in just, run of the mill, going to work, getting the kids from school, all that stuff, we just kind of dismiss it as, I don't know what's going on over there. Just as long as I can get my license plate and it doesn't take me 6 hours, I'm a happy camper.
Exactly. Well, I think a very important thing that you might want to remember, anyone that's wanting to serve, is you must have a servant's heart. I mean, you've got to, if you have the attitude, and I'm not saying that you do, but I'm just saying if someone had the attitude that, well, you get what you get and don't bitch your fit, that just won't get it. I mean, you've got to really care about people. It's not a job for me. It's a passion of mine, that I love what I do. I love helping people, and I love to be in a position where I can do that. I always, on one of the training that we do in the clerk's office, and as far as that, the register too, is if you're, when you see somebody come in that office, think of yourself out of town, not knowing a thing about it. Don't start using these little words or numbers like a, certain number means this and a 17 and 25. I mean, talk to them like you would want to be explained to if you knew nothing about the job.
Right. I like that. I like that a lot because I think, I'm a little bit more libertarian leaning of a person, and so an office like yours always scares me because I don't have a choice. I am a constituent. I'm required to have these things to go about my day-to-day life, but I have only one company to go to do these things, and that's one of those things that always frightens me because your requirement as far as doing a good job by my consideration is a little bit different than McDonald's or O'Charlie's or something like that. The game's a little bit different afoot. Okay, so I'm going to take this time because again I know we got a kind of quick window. So you're wrapping up you just finished your third year. You finished up your first term. What do you feel like is one of your most proud achievements that you've done in the time in the clerk's office?
Wow.
Or two or three. You don't have to limit it to one if you've got a bunch. It's fine.
Okay. Well, I think we've had several. So I will say that opening up another passport office in the Halls office was very much appreciated by the community out there. We moved the East office. We were in the Markman's building in East, right over by East Town. We moved over next to Home Depot because at the end of the month and the first of the month, we actually had cars lined up around the building, and people couldn't get. If people had come in, they couldn't get out. So we checked that. We reduced the rent. We moved the facility, and it was a lot of work, but I think that's been very much appreciated by that community. And I'm trying to think. We've had a lot of things that weren't, just initiated by me because laws change, and I'm trying to think of some of the things. Cindy, can you think of anything that we, like I said, a lot of laws change and we have to change things for that reason. But we have also tried, during the pandemic, we were looking at getting birth certificates. People were having to go over to the health department to get birth certificates, and they were required in trying to get these real IDs. So we had heard in some counties the clerk did birth certificates. So we actually petitioned the state and asked them if we could do that, and they have granted us the authority to do that. But of course there's a lot of stipulations, and now this year, with all the new license plates, we found ourselves just overwhelmed trying to get all of those out. So at some point, you may see your Knox County Clerk's office actually issuing.
That's a good one. Okay, so I heard a rumor, at least, and you could answer this question on the new blue plates. On those new blue plates, you can option the "In God We Trust" or not over the seal.
Yes, and let me say something. Yes, right now the blue plate is 2 or 3 things that people say. I don't like it. Then other people say, I love it. And then some people say, well, it looks like Kentucky blue. Well, that blue is the blue from our state flag. We didn't have anything to do with the making of the plates. We are charged with actually making sure that citizen and their plate number matches up, but they didn't ask us anything about manufacturing. Another myth is that the prisoners do them. The prisoners don't do it. There's a company called Tricor that actually produces the plates. And as far as the In God We Trust and the other plate, right now the vendor for the state is working on that as far as an online option to be able to say, I want one or the other. Right now, when you go online to renew your plate, we're going to send you what you have. So if you don't have an In God We Trust, then you won't get that. You'll get the regular. So some people, now that they say, oh, wait a minute, I want this In God We Trust, Well, if they bring their plate back, that plate has to become a dead plate. We have to take it out of the system, and there is a $2 charge for doing that. But if somebody comes back and says, wait a minute, I got an In God We Trust and I did not want that, the same amount applies. We have that $2 is to make that other plate a dead plate.
So okay. It's just, I don't like that. That's just, I can't imagine being so upset about one way or the other, personally. That I don't know. I don't think I would. Go ahead.
Oh, I had a guy yesterday that was saying, wait a minute, they're all centered. And I said, they're all centered? I said, well, wait a minute. I said, the population of the state of Tennessee has grown. Therefore, they had to add another character. Before, it was 3 characters on one side and 3 characters on another side. Now there's 3 and 4 because we actually have, there's 7 total. And that's going to make it look off center.
I mean, that's math. They don't balance that way unless we put it dead center.
It does.
But if we put it dead center, then we cover up the state logo, and then that doesn't work either.
No, and that is 2 things in the statute that actually we haven't had a new license plate in 16 years. And every 8 years, the statute calls for there to be new license plate if it's put into the budget. 8 years ago, it wasn't put in the budget, but this year it was. So that's why we have the new license
Interesting.
plate.
I mean, again, these are little tidbits of things that I totally make sense once you say it out loud, but you would never think about if you didn't know any better. Like that there's a...
You're right. And the clerk gets the blame for all that stuff. Anything that goes wrong is the clerk's fault. I mean,
right, because again, that's one of my things in the broad spectrum of talking to different elected officials and watching these different processes play out, is it's one of the most frustrating things to me when people... When I see a commission meeting go 7 hours on something that's a state mandate or a state law that comes down that has nothing to do with the commission. Exactly. And one of my goals is to help fit some of those gaps. I don't think it's possible to get them all done, but would people... because I mean, I right now, and as of 15 minutes ago, I would have assumed that at some level that was your fault. The license plate change. Not really. I assumed that was a state level thing. I'm going to be honest about it. But I could see how people make that conclusion. But it's just a matter of being educated about how this actual functional system works. And I don't think a lot of people.
Yeah, sometimes people just want to vent. They just want to vent a little bit.
I know. I've yelled at poor girls on the AT&T when I'm trying to cancel my phone bill or something like that. It's not their fault. It's just I got to yell at somebody. It's happening. And
I agree with you. I do the same thing with my television at home. So.
Right. See, and then again, going back to my libertarian problems I have is when I have a problem with KUB, then I don't even start to pretend like I don't want to yell at them the whole time because I don't have a choice. I have to get my power from them. But that's again, separate issue. All right. So it is campaign season. And I do want to do a little bit of time on that. I'm assuming you're not going to spend a ton of energy on campaigning since, again, you don't have an opponent.
Well, right now that's the way I've never run unopposed, so I don't know I don't know.
You feel like you should be doing something, but there's nothing to do, that kind of thing?
I go to a lot of the community meetings. I do that because I enjoy that. I love being around people. I go to a lot of the political events because I love that. So I don't know what I won't do right
Okay,
now. Good
answer. All right, so as part of my campaigning process, I've formulated an intense series of 5 questions that I'm asking everybody that comes through, and I might compile them later and make one big collage of everybody's 5 questions answers. But since we're short on time, I want to go ahead and get that out of the way. Question number 1 is, which we've already technically answered, but I want to do it in the short version. Is this the first seat you've held? Is this the highest seat you plan to hold? Kind of the shortened version of your political history and potential future.
Okay. Well, it is not the first seat I've held. And the second point is it the last seat I'll hold? I don't know what my future holds, but I'm very satisfied with the clerk's office. I think that we've taken it to a new level, and I think that I'm proud of the accomplishments. But what I'll do after this other 4 years, all right.
Well, we'll catch up with you in 3.5 years and talk to you about that part then. Question 2 is, what is your favorite ice cream? Chocolate almond. See, that's a unique one. I haven't had that one yet. I like that. That's exciting. Question 3 is, what's your favorite place here in town to eat?
here in Knoxville to eat.
All right.
Namas.
I think that's the second vote for that one. So we're having separate secondary food elections as part of my show today. All right, number 4, we bring it back to a little bit more stuff. And I think it exceptionally applies to your seat specifically, but on the broader scheme of things, do you feel like partisanship is a unique advantage for the voter when choosing who they want to hold office?
Yes, I think that the platforms are, it's divided and smaller. That the platforms are out there when you have a partisan race.
All right, and then. All right, then number 5 is going to be continuing on the partisan kind of chunk of the conversation. You're running as a Republican. You've been a Republican for many years. I would like you to tell me about a Democrat that you like, that you see leadership in and stuff like that, whether it's local, state, or federal.
A Democrat that I like, that I see local. Well, I like them all. I don't have a problem with any of them. When you get into office, especially the clerk's office, when someone calls, I don't ask what party they belong to. I have lots of friends that are on both sides of the aisle, and I'm not going to choose.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
Because they'd be upset with me. I said they would be upset with me if I chose one over the other.
It's politics. Somebody's going to be upset all the time. All right. So, do you have any campaign plugs that you want to do? Any like a campaign website that you want to get out while we have the chance?
No, not right now. I appreciate you asking, but I just it's an honor to serve the citizens of Knoxville, and I will get back with me, Steph, and I'll give you updates. And anything that you have any questions about the clerk's office, we are always more than glad to
And I do
respond.
appreciate that how quickly and how open you guys have been, and I do appreciate that part. Again, you've got some other stuff to do today. We had to squeeze it in a little tight, not a problem. Is there anything else that you want to just kind of highlight real quick before we call it a show?
No, one of the things that we do is the 2:00 appointment is actually handling legislation. We are Zooming with the clerks across the state, and boy, has this been a nice thing is to be able to Zoom and not make so many trips everywhere and all the hours. I mean, this pandemic has brought on a lot of bad things, but it's also made us reevaluate things and our time, and it certainly seems like we can get so many more things done. The legislation is I'm on the board for the county clerks across the state, and so I appreciate them putting that.
Yeah, Zoom's one of those things that it was we all got a really quick, hard lesson in how to work in it. But now that everybody's gotten comfortable in it, it's actually pretty good. Just remember to put your pants on, and I think you'll be okay. All right, Sherry, I appreciate you guys so much. Have a great afternoon. Enjoy your other Zoom call, and we'll touch base soon. All right.
Thank you so much. Have a good day and a good weekend.
All right, there's Sherry Witt, everybody. We had to zoom in. We had a little bit of a scheduling faux pas, if you will. I was hoping she was coming. She thought I was coming to her office. I thought she was coming to my office. That's my bad. I didn't explain it well enough when we were setting the date. So I screwed up. My bad. Didn't get to do her in person. Nonetheless, we got to talk to Sherry Witt, the county clerk. So I get to correct Sam later because he thought she's been there forever. It's a 2-term limit job. So we did learn a few interesting things. Anyway, I was excited to do it. So we're almost in agreement at gmail.com. You find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. Go to our website, almostinagreement.com. I've got that jobs description sheet, as mentioned, as well as my voter guide, which is going to have a list of everybody that's running, a link to the shows that I've done with them, and a link to their Facebook or campaign website or something like that, whatever I can find that makes sense. So go check that out. Please get on your favorite podcast provider or YouTube and subscribe to the show because we're going to keep them coming hot and fast. The only thing that's stopping us really right now is I'm going out of town for spring break. So we're almost in agreement. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great afternoon. I'm coming right back in about an hour or so with Steve Weiner for Commission 10. So we're going to keep him working, and then we've got a big show tomorrow. So it's another great day in Almost in Agreement Land.